A howling wind sweeps across an endless frozen wilderness, cold enough to sting exposed skin in an instant. Beneath your feet lies ice that stretches miles downward, and shouldn't, unyielding and packed with secrets far older than any human tale. This is Antarctica, the planet's most brutal, driest, and most isolated corner. Small research outposts struggle to survive the relentless freeze, while satellites circle above, capturing mysteries that refuse to reveal themselves. In 2019, a drilling crew in Queen Maud Land pulled up ice cores and spotted something unusual in the early data. Underground rock formations and patterns that resembled old stone structures or walls. The initial notes were made, but the full report was quietly filed away. Officials explained it as ordinary natural geology shaped by time and pressure. End of discussion. For those who track ancient bloodlines, symbolic clues, and suppressed history across centuries, though this wasn't unexpected. It didn't seem like chance. It felt like quiet evidence of something deliberately concealed for a very long time. Welcome to the concealed layers of the past. Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. Tonight we uncover one of history's most enduring and captivating legends. The claim that the Knights Templar, those legendary warrior monks who rose to unmatched power and then collapsed in a single, catastrophic moment, knew about Antarctica long before the rest of the world, and that a hidden line of their descendants has quietly protected that explosive secret ever since. According to official records, the Templars were dissolved in 1312 when Pope Clement V shut down the order under intense pressure from Francis. King Philip IV, their final Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was executed by burning in Paris on March 18, 1314. With his last breath, he is said to have cursed both the king and the pope. Both men died within the following year. The curse quickly became part of folklore, but one critical piece is often ignored. On the night before the widespread arrest Friday, October 13, 1307, the Templar fleet based at La Rochelle vanished completely. Some historical accounts mention up to 18 ships, possibly carrying treasure, confidential documents, and knights who had been tipped off in advance. Those vessels were never located again. No wretches recovered. No survivors traced. No evidence left behind. Most historians believe they fled to Scotland, where Robert the Bruce, already cut off by the church, would have offered refuge, or to Portugal, where a successor order later emerged from Templar foundations. Yet a more daring and persistent theory keeps resurfacing. What if some of those ships headed far south? What if they navigated using hidden charts toward a continent Europe wouldn't officially discover for another 5 centuries? Think about this. During their 2 centuries of dominance, the Templars collected knowledge lost to the rest of Europe: ancient diagrams from vanished libraries, Byzantine documents, and seafaring expertise from Arab navigators who inherited wisdom from even earlier cultures. What if some of those charts revealed Antarctica remote, icebound sanctuary at the world's end? The ideal location to conceal anything that needed to remain out of reach forever. Consider the well-known Piri Reis map, created in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. Piri Reis stated he compiled it from nearly 20 earlier sources. While some were contemporary, others dated back centuries even to the age of Alexander the Great. Astonishingly, it depicts Africa's western shore, South America's eastern edge, and a southern landmass that aligns closely with Antarctica's coastline beneath the ice. The authentic map is preserved in Istanbul's Topkapı Palace. How was such precise detail possible when no European had set eyes on that land? Piri Reis never disclosed the true origin of those ancient source maps. Who had the capability to map coastlines buried under thick ice for millennia? And who managed to safeguard and transmit that information across generations, shielding it from anyone who might erase it? The Templars went far beyond being soldiers. They acted as bankers, engineers, diplomats, and custodians of restricted knowledge. While stationed in the Holy Land, they excavated beneath Jerusalem's Temple Mount, and are believed to have uncovered powerful artifacts and texts. Those discoveries elevated a small band of knights into the wealthiest and most influential organization in medieval Europe. They established fortified outposts from Scotland to Cyprus, maintained their own navy, and answered solely to the Pope. They developed pioneering banking methods that influenced finance for centuries, and they shielded their secrets so effectively that torture and execution rarely forced them to speak. We're not declaring everything proven here tonight. We're simply following a trailer sequence of verified events blended with enduring legends that have persisted for 700 years. It raises questions that standard history has yet to fully resolve. Where did the vanished La Rochelle fleet actually end up? How did centuries-old maps accurately show Antarctica's coastline long before its official discovery? Why did families linked to the Templars become so prominent during the major era of exploration? And why does Antarctica remain the most tightly controlled and enigmatic continent today, bound by strict international agreements and unusual research restrictions? Tonight, we start pulling that thread. We follow the Templars' journey from a small group of humble guardians to a dominant force across Europe. We witness their rapid downfall and the narrow escape of a few survivors. We investigate maps that challenge conventional timelines, symbols appearing in surprising locations, and family lines that may have silently preserved the knowledge across centuries, holding it until the moment was right. And in our minds, we journey straight to the ice dew, that frozen stronghold at the bottom of the world. Perhaps the most profound medieval enigma of all remains buried there. The cold bites deep. The night feels endless. Some truths are safest when locked in ice. Jerusalem, 1099. The streets ran red with blood and celebration. The First Crusade had achieved the impossible after a long, violent siege. Christian forces captured the holy city from its Muslim rulers. Pilgrims from every corner of Europe could finally visit their most sacred site, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Via Dolorosa, the actual ground where Jesus walked, suffered, died, and rose. But the routes to Jerusalem were treacherous. Bandits ambushed pilgrims traveling from the ports of Jaffa and Acre, robbing them, enslaving them, or killing them in the lawless, rocky terrain. The young kingdom of Jerusalem lacked the soldiers to protect every traveler. Hundreds of pilgrims perished. Then, in 19, 20 years after the conquest, a French knight named Hugues de Payens arrived with 8 companions and presented a bold plan to King Baldwin II. They would live by strict monastic vows: poverty, chastity, obedience. Yet they would also take up arms. They would become warrior monks, holy knights who defended pilgrims with both sword and devotion, blending martial strength with spiritual discipline. Bernard of Clairvaux, one of the most influential church figures of the time, drafted their official rules and became their strongest advocate. He even authored a work titled In Praise of the New Knighthood, praising them as the ideal fusion of monk and warrior. Inspired by Bernard's support and the Templars' growing reputation, wealthy nobles across Europe donated land, money, and their own sons. Within a single generation, those 9 impoverished knights grew into a vast international network with holdings in nearly every Christian kingdom. Their expansion was extraordinary. By the mid-1100s, they owned properties in France, England, Scotland, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, and the Crusader states in the east. They constructed fortified churches, castles, and command centers, some of which still stand today. Their construction techniques appeared remarkably advanced, as though drawn from knowledge beyond typical medieval methods. They developed an early banking network. Pilgrims could deposit funds in Europe and withdraw them safely in the Holy Land. This system required flawless record-keeping, trustworthy agents across vast distances, and an organization more sophisticated than many kingdoms. They answered only to the Pope, exempt from taxes, tithes, and local rulers' control. A Templar knight could travel from Scotland to Cyprus wearing the white mantle with the red cross, and every step felt like home ground. This rapid accumulation of wealth and influence has led many to wonder, did they possess some extraordinary advantage? Their architectural expertise appeared suddenly and fully formed. Their banking methods closely resembled systems used in the Islamic world and beyond. They maintained communication over enormous distances with reliability unmatched by most rulers. Certain theories suggest the Templars uncovered ancient texts beneath the temple mount writings on mathematics, astronomy, geography, and maps from civilizations long forgotten. It remains speculation, but it offers an explanation for how 9 poor knights rose to become the most powerful non-royal force in the Middle Ages. The top leaders kept everything secret. Normal knights followed strict daily rules, but the inner circle met behind closed doors. New members joined at night with private ceremonies and oaths no one outside heard. This secrecy later gave enemies excuses to accuse them of bad things like heresy or strange rituals. True or not, it protected something, maybe knowledge too valuable or too risky to share. Even kings and popes couldn't force them to open up. They said they served God alone, and only God knew their full purpose. By 1250, the Templars were at their peak. They led armies, paid for wars, and held key strongholds between Christian and Muslim lands. They were part of everyday medieval life. But in just 60 years, they were gone, wiped out so completely that graves were destroyed and names were banned. The trouble started quietly, fed by king's greed and fear of what the Templars might know. On the cold morning of Friday, October 13th, 1307, sealed royal orders opened all over France at the exact same time. King Philip IV, Philip the Fair. For his looks, not his actions, ordered every Templar arrested. The charges were shocking: heresy, blasphemy, worshipping idols, spitting on the cross, dirty rituals, the protectors of pilgrims. The bankers of Christianity suddenly called enemies of God. The arrests happened fast and hard. Soldiers surrounded Templar houses before sunrise, catching knights praying or sleeping. Jacques de Molay, the Grand Master, was grabbed in the Paris Temple, the heart of their power. Hundreds went to dungeons for torture. Soon, confessions came out, men broken by pain saying whatever stopped the suffering. Yes, they denied Christ. Yes, they kissed strangely in secret meetings. Yes, they bowed to a head called Baphomet. These words went to Pope Clement V, proof for Philip to demand the order's end. Philip's reasons were mixed. His kingdom was broke from wars. He had already taken Jewish wealth and messed with money so badly it caused riots. The Templars were wretched. They had refused him loans and entry into their group. Pride and money pushed him to destroy them. But he needed the Pope's help. Clement V owed his position to French power and lived in fear of it. The trials dragged on for 7 terrible years. Torture, changing stories, tricks. Jacques de Molay confessed under pain, then took it back in front of church officials, then confessed again after more torture. Knights who took back confessions were burned as relapsed heretics. Others got life in prison, many dying slowly. The order's riches were taken, but strangely much less gold and treasure turned up than expected, and the famous fleet gone. When agents reached La Rochelle, big port where Templar ships came and went, they found empty docks and warehouses. The ships had slipped away in the night, carrying men, cargo, secrets. Who knows? Where did they go? That question has lasted 700 years. Common ideas point to Scotland Rabbit. The Bruce was excommunicated, so he welcomed papal enemies. Templar signs show up in places like Roslin Chapel later on, or Portugal. The order became the Order of Christ. There in 1319, helping explorers like Prince Henry the Navigator. But the number of missing ships was too many for just those places. Some may have sailed into the unknown with treasure, papers, or knowledge enemies wanted gone. The Templars were great at sea travel and had contacts with Arab and Byzantine experts who kept old geography secrets. If they fled with dangerous truths, a faraway hideout made sense. Nothing is farther or more hidden than the ice-covered land at the world's end, where time stands still under snow. On March 18, 1314, Jacques de Molay stood on a scaffold near Notre Dame in Paris. He was sentenced to life in prison. A broken, confessed heretic meant to warn others. But the story doesn't end there quietly. Legends say, as flames rose later, after he retracted again, he called out a curse on Philip and Clement, summoning them to face God soon. And strangely, both died within a year. Clement from illness, Philip from a hunting accident. The curse became legend. But in that final moment, Jacques de Molay found a strength that torture had never broken. Standing before the crowd, he took back his confession. He shouted that the Templars were innocent. Their only crime was serving God and the Church with total loyalty. Word reached King Philip instantly. Furious at the public challenge, he ordered de Molay burned at the stake that same evening. As the flames climbed higher, the Grand Master raised his voice one last time. He called out a terrible curse. He summoned Pope Clement V and King Philip IV to face him before God's throne within the year, to answer for what they had done. 33 days later, Clement died suddenly. Before the year ended, Philip was gone to killed in a hunting accident. The curse of the Templars had begun. Legends say it still echoes far across the sea, on ships cutting through dark waves toward unknown lands. The true keepers of secrets watched distant smoke rise from French shores. They turned their course southward, toward ice that would hide everything forever. Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know, what are you watching from and what time is it there right now? Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night. Someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between, to understand the fall of the Templars and why some escaped with their secrets. We need to look at the three men who drove it all. Their plans mixed debt, power, and deep fear. King Philip IV of France, called the Fair for his looks, was 39 when he struck. He was smart, ruthless, and obsessed with making the French crown stronger than anyone else, even the church. He had already attacked an earlier pope, Boniface VIII, sending men to beat the old man in his own home, an insult that helped kill him. He kicked out the Jews of France and took their money. He arrested Italian bankers, the Lombards, tortured them, stole their wealth, then threw them out too. The Templars were his biggest target and biggest reward. They were richer than most kingdoms, answered only to the Pope, and had strong bases inside France that Philip couldn't touch without permission. Philip owed them huge debts from wars and his fancy lifestyle. Wiping them out would erase those debts and hand their gold straight to him. But he needed a good excuse. Attacking a church-protected order after 200 years required something shocking. So the charges, heresy, idol worship, spitting on the cross, filthy rituals were invented to terrify everyone. They came from old Inquisition tricks used against other groups. Once torture pulled out confessions, the lies felt real. Philip could pretend he was saving the faith, not robbing it. Many people saw through him, but his army and executioners made the truth quiet. Pope Clement V was stuck in the middle. A Frenchman, he got the papal throne thanks to Philip's help. He lived in Avignon, not Romandro French control. Clement tried to resist at first. He said the charges weren't proven and only the church could judge its own orders. But Philip pushed hard. He threatened to dig up Pope Boniface's body and try him for heresy, a huge scandal. He showed Clement tortured Templars who described awful things. Slowly, Clement gave in. In 1312, he didn't call the Templars guilty, he just said the order was too scandalized to exist anymore. It was a weak excuse to save face. But it let Philip win while Clement avoided looking like a murderer. Jacques de Molay is the hardest to figure out. Elected Grand Master in 1292. He spent years trying to start a new crusade to take back Jerusalem, a dream that felt impossible as Europe lost interest in holy wars. He was a fighter, not a schemer. He didn't see the danger coming. When Pope Clement called him to France in 1307 supposedly to talk about crusades, de Molay came willingly. He brought treasures and papers from Cyprus. He walked right into Philip's trap, trusting papal protection and years of loyal service. His trust killed him. But it raises a big question. If de Mar was caught off guard, why did the La Rochelle fleet escape? Why was so little treasure found when soldiers searched? The bases? Did someone higher up know what was coming? Someone de Molay didn't? Some theories say the Templars had layers. De Mar ran the public side, the soldiers, the banks, the dealings with kings. But a secret inner group guarded the real purpose and the most dangerous knowledge. Through spies and contacts, they got warning of Philip's plan. They had time to move gold, papers, and people to safety. De Marlay became the sacrifice. His arrest kept everyone's eyes on Paris, while the important things slipped away into the night. It's not proven, but it fits the holes in history. The vanished fleet, the missing riches, the escape of key people who should have been caught, who would protect those secrets at any cost. Families tied to the Templars by blood or marriage, like the Sinclairs in Scotland, the Gamma family in Portugal, or the Zeno family in Venice, had reasons and ways to hide refugees and keep traditions alive. The secrets themselves may be maps of hidden lands, or powerful relics would inspire total loyalty from anyone who understood them. The Templars were crushed, but not erased. Something lived on. Something sailed away on ships, headed for places no medieval mapmaker had drawn. In the Topkapi Palace Museum in Istanbul, locked behind glass in a cool room, sits a piece of gazelle skin that has confused experts since it was found again in 1929. The Piri Reis map, dated 1513 and signed by Ottoman Admiral Ahmed Muheddin Piri, shows the Atlantic, Africa's west coast, South America's east coast, and at the bottom, a landmass that looks amazingly like Antarctica's northern edge. The map is real. Historians, map experts, and even a US Navy team in 1960 studied it closely. The big mystery: how could an Ottoman in the early 1500s draw a continent no European discovered, until 300 years later, and draw it as it might? Look without ice. Piri Reis wrote notes on the map's edges. He said he used about 20 older maps. Some were new, Portuguese and Spanish ones from Columbus's time. But others, he claimed, went back centuries, even to Alexander the Great's era. He mentioned one map Columbus supposedly used, taken from a captured Spanish sailor. Where did Columbus get it? Where did those ancient source maps come from? Piri Reis didn't explain, but if true, it means someone kept super old geographic knowledge alive for thousands of years, long before anyone officially explored those places. The Piri Reis map isn't alone. Other strange maps from the same time show similar impossibilities. The Orontius Phineas map 1531 by a French mapmaker shows Antarctica with mountain ranges and coastlines that match modern scans done through the ice in the 1900s. The Ahmed map 1519 draws the Western Hemisphere with a land bridge between Alaska and Siberia, connection that existed in the last ice age but sank over 10,000 years ago. The Boichet map 1737 by French geographer Philippe Boichet shows Antarctica split by a waterway into two parts, something only confirmed in 1958 by global surveys that proved Antarctica would be two landmasses without the ice. These maps, spread over 3 centuries, share one strange thing they seem to show: knowledge that shouldn't have existed back then. Imagine standing on a frozen shore where the ice never melts, guarding secrets carried across stormy seas by knights who vanished into legend. What if those same knights hid the truth in a place no king could ever reach? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time it is there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. These strange maps hold details their creators couldn't have known from trips in their own time. The idea linking them to the Templars starts with real history. While based in the Holy Land, the Templars made close ties with Arab experts who kept old Greek, Roman, and Persian writings that Europe had lost. Big libraries in Cairo, Baghdad, and Constantinople had geography books by Ptolemy, Eratosthenes, and other maps and notes copied and improved over hundreds of years. When Constantinople fell in the Fourth Crusade in 1204 on event, the Templars helped cause old records were stolen. Valuable items and papers went west, landing with people who understood their worth. The Templars, with their spread-out bases, money system, and habit of keeping things hidden, were perfect for grabbing and protecting these things. The wild theory says that among those papers were maps or writings about lands Europe didn't know, including a huge southern land that old sailors thought must exist to balance the northern ones. The Greeks named it Terrae Australis Incognita, the unknown southern land. Some old texts seem to describe it from real visits, not just guesses. If the Templars had these, they would have hidden them well. Knowing about secret places meant riches, safe spots, and control. When the order collapsed, this map knowledge would have been top cargo on the fleeing ships. It later showed up with people tied to Templar survivors, ending up with Ottoman admirals and French mapmakers who made those puzzle maps. The US Air Force got pulled into this in 1960. Lieutenant Colonel Harold Z. Omeyer, a map expert with the 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron, looked at the Piri Reis map for researcher Charles Hapgood. In a letter, he said the bottom part showed the Princess Martha coast in Queen Maud Land, Antarctica, and it matched amazingly with 1949 seismic checks through the ice by a Swedish-British team. This meant someone long ago mapped Antarctica's coast when it wasn't buried in ice, or at least when ships could reach it. That map survived somehow and helped Piri Reis in 1513. Mainstream experts still doubted, calling the matches luck or mistakes. But Olmeyer's questions have no good answers yet. If the Templars knew about Antarctica, it was the biggest secret of their timer, icy land at the world's bottom, reached only by hidden sea paths. It was a perfect safe for gold, holy items, or truths locked in freeze until people were ready. The maps are real. The links are proven. The puzzles wait for anyone brave enough to connect them. Prove tying the Templars to lands before Columbus isn't just in old maps, it's in rocks, buildings, and objects across oceans. Alone, each might seem like chance or error. Together, they hint at secret sea trips long before Columbus. Maybe way past the Atlantic edges we link to the Templars. The Newport Tower in Tura Park, Rhode Island, is a round stone building on 8 pillars that confused people since early American days. Old stories said it was a windmill from 17th century Governor Benedict Arnold, grandfather of the famous traitor. But its style looks like medieval European churches, especially Templar ones. Templars loved round churches, copying Jerusalem's Holy Sepulchre. The tower's size and shape match those old designs closely. Tests on the mortar give mixed dates, some medieval, some later. No one agrees after years of study, but it stands as a weird clue, some say. Shows Europeans in America before Columbus. Roslin Chapel near Edinburgh, Scotland, might give the strongest hint of Templar secrets beyond history books. Built from 1456 to 1484 by William Sinclair, Earl of Orkney, from a family with clear Templar ties to chapel, has hundreds of detailed stone pictures. Among them, some look like corneas and aloe cactus plants from the Americas, unknown. In Europe until after Columbus in 1493. If real, these mean the Sinclairs knew about American plants decades early. Experts have checked, snapped photos, and argued for years. Doubters say they're fancy wheat or strawberries. Believers point out the close match to New World plants. The stones stay mysterious, open to views, but no final proof. The Sinclair link goes further. Prince Henry Sinclair, grandfather of the chapel's builder, supposedly sailed across the Atlantic in 1398, almost 100 years before Columbus. The Zeno narrative, printed in Venice in 1558 from old family letters by Venetian sailors, tells the story. It says Sinclair went with Antonio Zeno to far lands, meeting native people in places some think are Nova Scotia and Massachusetts. The narrative is fought over. Some call it a fake from the 1500s to boost Venice's sea claims. Others say the main parts are true. Possible proof includes the Westford Knighter rock carving in Massachusetts that looks like a medieval knight in armor to some, just weather marks to others. The fight goes on. These clues mean more when you add the Templars. Real sea power. They had a big fleet with ports at La Rochelle in France, Mediterranean spots, and Holy Land harbors. They hired expert sailors who learned from Arabs the best at sea in those days. Templars traded often with North Africa and the East, needing skills in winds, currents, and star navigation over open ocean. If any group in medieval Europe could cross the Atlantic early, it was the Templars. Math and star knowledge in Templar buildings hint at sailing skills. Their churches line up exactly with sun and star events, needing smart observations and numbers. Octagon shapes, they liked help with map drawing. If they had old maps of hidden lands, they had the brains to use them. This mix of sea skills and math seen in buildings across Europe shows they could do more than just fight crusades. Templar-like items show up in odd American spots, but fakes are argued. The Kensington runestone in Minnesota 1898 has 1,362, writing about a Scandinavian trip inside North America. Not Templar, but close to their end time, maybe refugees fleeing. It has marks some link to Templars or related groups. Most experts call it a 1800s fake. Same for stones in Oklahoma, Massachusetts, claimed as old European signs or dismissed as tricks or nature. All these bits show a pattern, knowledge and visits beyond records. The stones don't prove Templars hit Antarctica, but they raise real questions. Weird things need answers. We might not know the full Templar story yet. It's October 12th, 1307. Night. You stand on La Rochelle's stone dock, torches dancing on black water. Behind, the Templar fort towers over the port walls that guided your group across seas for years. But tonight, no safety. Secret word came from Paris Baths. The Grand Master doesn't know. Shadows as old as the Order. Tomorrow, Philip's men attack. Every Templar in France chained, sent to torture rooms. No time to talk or ask de Mahy. Still trusts popes and kings. Just load ships and go before light shows you. The La Rochelle escape is famous in Templar studies, but details are fuzzy. Records agree. When Kingsmen came after arrests, the fleet was gone. Ship counts differ few to over a dozen, but they vanished at night with loads and crews. Two places Philip couldn't follow. It happened right as arrests started, not after meaning early warning and plans. Someone inside knew and got ready. While Damar stayed blind, most think they went to Scotland. Robert the Bruce was kicked out of the church for church murder, so no fear of Pope rules. He needed fighters against England, Templars, banned from Christian fights but facing death under popes, could help an outcast king. Proof backs this. Templar graves in Scotland, symbols in buildings from after the end, ships vanish into the night, carrying knights and secrets across endless waves. But what if some turned south, toward a frozen world where no hunter could follow, hiding truths in eyes that time forgot? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone's starting their morning, or somewhere in between. The Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 saw Robert the Bruce's small army beat a huge English force. Late in the fight, mystery riders charged in knights on horses, whose source is still unknown. Some experts think they were Templar escapees, battling one last time under their red cross before blending into Scottish families through weddings and name changes. Portugal gave real safety to King Denis wouldn't hunt Templars in his land. In 1319, he changed them into the Order of Christ. This new group kept Templar lands, ways, and people working openly while others faced jail or death. The Order of Christ later helped Portugal's big discoveries. Prince Henry, the navigator, led it as Grand Master while sending ships to map Africa's coast and find the way to India by sea. Vasco da Gama carried the Order's Red Cross on his sails to India in 1498. Christopher Columbus wed a daughter of an Order Knight and may have used their old maps and records. This link between Templars surviving in Portugal and the exploration. Age is real history, not guesses. But Scotland and Portugal could only take in so many runaways. Templars fleeing France, plus those in milder spots, were likely too many for just two countries. Some ideas point to other places. Switzerland, rising as a free group right after the Templars ended, with banks and soldiers maybe echoing Templar skills. Or islands in the Mediterranean, African shores, or farther away. The wildest idea tonight. Some ships with the biggest secrets didn't head to safe spots. They sailed into unknown seas, following maps showing lands off normal charts. Think what that trip needed. 1307 ships weren't giant like later ones, but they could cross oceans. Templars had skilled sailors from Mediterranean, Atlantic, and Holy Land runs. They knew Arab Star Tricks Anper, this theory-old maps of hidden places. They had reason to find the farthest hideout, away from torturers, to save secrets for. Later, maybe they even knew the icy south from rescued ancient papers, kept hidden for years. If it happened, the journey was a huge medieval adventure. South by Africa, then west winds to South America, into waters no European wrote about for ages. Colder air, longer nights, strange stars. But with old guides and strong will, they aimed for the ice end of the world. Storms or freeze might sink some. Others could stop on islands or coasts discovered. Later, a few maybe reached the cold land. dropping gold and truths on shores that hid them for 700 years. It's still just theory, old whispers, not facts. But the ships did disappear. No treasure found. Templar secrets didn't burn with Jacques. De Malay in Paris to last. You need more than a hideout. You need friends, deals, and family lines that carry on passing knowledge through weddings, adoptions, and quiet lessons from parent to kid. In 200 years, Templars mixed deep into Europe's rich families. Ending the order couldn't cut all ties. Templar kin didn't vanish, they changed, joined others, kept links under history's surface. These webs help track how Templar secrets might live on, including Southland maps passed over hundreds of years from end to discovery time. Scotland's Sinclair family, or St. Clair, has the clearest ties to Templar survivors and later events. They linked to Templars from the start. Henry de St. Clair spoke at the 1128 Troll Council for church approval. Sinclairs were Templar knights in the 1100s and 1200s. Family stories say they hid fleeing knights after 1307. Their Scottish role is real. One William guarded young King David II. Another built Roslyn Chapel with odd carvings hinting at America before Columbus. Prince Henry Sinclair, Orkney Earl in the late 1300s, stars in tales of Templars crossing oceans. The Zeno story says he sailed west in 1398 to far lands, maybe Nova Scotia or New England. It's argued, published 160 years later, may be faked or stretched. But backers cite Westford Night Rog, Micmac tales of a pre-white prince, and roslyn plants like from America. Even without the trip, Sinclairs knew more than most noblers, maybe from Templar roots. Portugal's line is clear too. The Order of Christ came straight from local Templars keeping groups together, unlike elsewhere. Knights swapped crosses but kept sea work and old papers. When Henry the Navigator started his Sagraz sailing school in the 1400s, he used order help. His ships went farther south in Africa, showing better skills than most. Some say he used Templar old mapsints of distant southlands. Other guessed webs. Venice, with sea trade and smart rulers, had Templar deals. Nobles maybe hid knights and papers that popped up later. Zeno family, Venice sailors in Sinclair. Tale could have kept geography secrets from Templar friends. Genoa, Florence, Italian Spozzi families might link to Templars, affecting discoveries. Columbus, Genoa-born, had secret maps he hid from Bacchismaby from Italian. Templar chains to saved papers. Family weddings wove a big net across borders. A Sinclair girl to Portuguese knight, kids to Venetian traders. Over time, cousins shared. Secrets, different countries, but same hidden past. This family bond, strong with loyalty and maybe secret join-ins, lasted better than groups. It hid Templar truths without clear records. The Antarctic bloodline idea built on this. If ships went south with knights and kin, they'd keep touch with Europe. Allies coded notes on return ships, supplies, news. In ice, they'd guard risky knowledge, passing it down, waiting centuries for reveal time. These ties didn't stop in medieval days. Some trace to Freemasons, sailor groups, explorer families whose names keep showing in discovery stories. Real link or pattern hunt? Debated. But it explains unsolved puzzles in regular history. King Philip IV didn't just want Templars gone, he wanted them wiped from books, memories gone, knowledge crushed. The hard chase after 1307 arrests shows fear beyond money or power. Something. Scared enemies enough for total erase from history. The wipeout that followed was one of medieval's biggest. Tries to kill a group and its mark forever. Flames devour ancient scrolls, erasing secrets that kings feared more than armies. But what if some truths escaped the fire sailing south to a frozen grave where no flame could ever reach? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe, so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time it is there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. The hard push to wipe out the Templars showed real fear leaders worried what the knights might spill if they lived. Right after arrests, King's men grabbed Templar papers all over France, 2 centuries of banknotes, letters, and records. These weren't saved for study, they were burned on purpose, completely. The huge Paris collection, full of priceless history, undeals with kings, inside talks, and gathered wisdom went up in smoke. Land papers, money logs, Grandmaster messages all turned to ash in fires that lasted days. This wasn't accident or war, method was planned from the top. Someone with big power wanted every Templar record gone, and they ordered burns across the land. The hunt spread outside France, and the Inquisition joined in. They took Templar stuff and burned what seemed bad or risky without even checking. Libraries built over years, with books from the Holy Land, Arab experts, and Byzantine scholars, were broken up or destroyed fast. If Templars had old maps of unknown places, sea charts, or star studies from long ago, those would be first to go. Inquisitors saw danger everywhere and chose fire over careful looks. But not everything burned. Vatican files kept some trial papers, maybe to show they fought evil hard, or just office habit, or hidden reasons. In 2001, the Chinon parchment turned up after 700 years, lost or hid in secret Vatican spots. Dated August 1308. It shows Pope Clement quietly clearing Templar leaders of heresy, the public story that ended the order. This proves some church tops' new charges were fake or unproven, but they kept it secret and the wipeout went on. Anyway, what else hides in Vatican stacks? In huge, untouched rooms of the oldest office system. Church and king files aren't the only spots for Templar leftovers. Family collections, private papers, hidden stashes could survive. Templar-linked kin had reasons to save proof of innocence or useful knowledge. Secret walls in old bases or churches might hide things from quick search. Searchers inquisitors couldn't tear down every stone. Such finds have popped up later. In 1810, Napoleon's church closings uncovered walled-up papers in extemplar spots that missed early burns. Who knows what waits in 700-year-old buildings for smart searchers? The push to bury Templar knowledge didn't stop in the 1300s. For centuries, Templar probes were blocked by rulers. Papers stayed locked, old stories called silly. Main history experts long laughed off hidden knowledge, ideas as nonsense, not worth study. This kept odd researchers on the edge, ignoring facts that didn't fit normal tailies. Only lately has it shifted with finds like Chinon forcing new looks. The Antarctica idea adds, why suppress so hard? If leaders guess Templars knew secret lands, It could change power big time. New places meant fresh goods, trade paths, eddies over rivals. If Templars hid this for themselves, enemies wanted it or control. When ships escaped with key papers, a race was the last choice, if not stolen. Make sure no one remembers, so no one gains. But memory lasted stronger than thought. Quiet family stories over years. Stone symbols outlived paper fires. And maybe in icy hides at world's end. Real proof waited safe in freeze until hold broke and facts came out. Wiping Templars shook all medieval Christian lands beyond the group. In months after 1307 arrests, money systems, war plans, church rule changed, forever shaping Europe for ages in ways killers didn't expect. Europe's money world took a huge hit right away. Templars banked for kings, rich folks, travelers for 200 years with smart credit. Safe drops, crossland moves like modern banks. Leave cash in London, get it in Jerusalem, guarded by Templar trusts over miles. Kings borrowed big for fights, using Templar name when their gold ran low. When Templars fell, banks crashed hard. Debts ignored or grabbed. Savings taken by kings as lost. Mess lasted decades, slowing real banks until Italian traders rebuilt Templar ideas slowly. War set up. In East Mediterranean changed fast. Templars held strongholds, troops, ships keeping last Christian spots safe from Muslim push. End removed top fighters at bad time. Soon, those spots fell back to Muslims. Rhodes Island, with Hospitaller Knights taking some Templar stuff, became less big Christian hold. Jerusalem dreamer ready weak died without Templar blades and boats. King-church balance shifted forever. Philip showed a strong ruler could force even Pope, ascending a Pope-protected order by push. Clement's giving set bad example for church. Later kings knew they could fight, scare bend popes with power. Avignon popes looked more French politics than holy leaders. This fed later church splits, big schism, even Protestant break sparked. By Clement yielding to Philip over his own people, mind impact on Europe lasted deep. Templars stood for perfect knight, fighters with faith, guarding travelers, holy sites with life. Fall with ugly charges broke that dream. If they hid evil after loyal years, what else might? Torture for truth, accuse without proofs at pattern for later hunts and trials. Templar end taught rulers, destroy any group, no matter old or true, with right lies, force, story control. For Antarctica theory, quick fallout gives wise survivors. Hid Nolly, not burned it. Bank crash freed gold, gems from years. Spread nights brought sea, build. Other skills. Imagine ancient papers turning to ash in royal fires, wiping out 2 centuries of secrets. But what if the most vital truths slipped away on ghost ships, found for a frozen land where no destroyer could follow? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. Burning the Templar records made any saved papers from before the arrests even more priceless as the last bits of their 200-year story. What left on the La Rochelle ships wasn't just gold, it was the heart of everything Templars created. Kept safe because fires destroyed the rest. Giving away Templar lands built new strong groups that changed history. In England, most went to the Knights Hospitaller, but the king kept big chunks. In France, Philip took everything straight, but found way less treasure than hoped. In Portugal, the Order of Christ got the full setup, turning into a sea power that started big discoveries. In Spain, local fighter groups got the spots to keep battling Moors. These changes, focused on Atlantic coasts in Portugal and Spain, mattered. Huge when Europeans later sailed oceans for new lands. Right after, rumors and stories spread that lasted ages. Tales of knights fleeing with riches to spots kings couldn't touch. Stories of curses, future warnings, and spooky payback on hunters. Clement and Philip dying so soon after Damar's fire seemed to prove his last words. These tales did key jobs. Kept Templars in people's minds over time. Warned kings not to attack holy groups, and hid real survivors, letting their work look like just old yarns. Even when it was planned and real, Templars didn't vanish from thoughts after the end. They became myths, wild stories, and hidden ways that grew fancier each 100 years. This story life kept their secrets true or made up live in Western minds, ready for new people to find and build on. Templar effects lasted way past their active day-shaping groups, pushing explorers and linking old France to Antarctica's ice in ways books ignore. Freemasonry is the biggest group that took Templar ways. Experts argue how close, but some Freemason paths claim straight links from the 1700s on. Scottish Rite tells de Molay's tale in plays. York Rite's Templar level says members are direct heirs from 700 years back. These say Templars hid after the end, passing knowledge secretly until safer times. Doubters say Freemasons show up only in 1600s records a 300-year hole with no clear proof. But no proof doesn't mean it didn't happen, especially for secret groups. Freemason signs match Templar ones a lot. Love of shapes and numbers. Honor for Solomon's temple. Builder words. Steps of learning. Maybe direct passed down, same old roots. Or later, add dons for old Filhar to say for sure. Clear. Freemasonry carried Templar stories, signs, old wisdom to now. Lodges in Europe and America kept the mystery going stronger than just history books. The Discovery Age from 1400s shows Templar marks in real ways. Portugal's Order of Christ, straight from Templars backed Henry the Navigator's sea plans. Ships with their special cross went farther down Africa, around the tip, to India and more. These trips showed better sailing than others, making some think they used saved Templar knowledge no one else had. Columbus seemed sure about. West finds asking for titles like he knew success. From Templar links, hidden Portuguese maps, or his own smarts, argued, but ties Templar secrets to new worlds. Antarctica's real find came later, early 1800s, with Russian, British, American ships in 1819 to 1821, fighting over first sight. This was ages after weird maps showed its coasts right. Gap between maps and discovery asks, did someone know Antarctica early? Medieval sailors hit it with old guides? Left signs under ice history misses? Antarctica as secret spot myth is old before. Templar tales. Old map makers guessed a Southland for balance. Medieval stories told of end-world places where time twisted. Mysteries for brave finders, symbols carved in stone, whispers passed in shadow, secrets that outlast kings and fires. But what if those same marks point south to a frozen land where Templar truths still hide under endless ice? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe, so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from, and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. When modern teams finally reached Antarctica, its harsh, cold and empty spaces made it seem like no old stories could live there now. People, no history. But that blank land became a perfect spot for wild tales from people hunting puzzles. If you wanted to hide something on Earth, Antarctica was the best. Safe locked by ice and far from easy finds, the Templar Antarctica story is a newer mix. Real medieval facts, blended with weird old maps and the lost fleet mystery. Writers and searchers have built on it lately, each adding bits to the big tale. Some say Templars built a lasting home there, keeping touch with Europe through hidden trips over hundreds of years. Others think they just stopped quick, leaving gold or holy items before going to warmer, safe spots. A few believe Templars shaped Antarctica finds from afar through secret groups that held there, map knowledge until new explorers could dig up old hides. Each idea adds to the growing legend. True or not, it keeps Antarctica as a mystery spot full of secrets ready to break. Free. Templars' long effect includes being a big sign of buried wisdom and hushed facts in today's world. In times when people doubt big groups, the tale of knights killed for knowing too much hits hard. Templars feel like early fighters for anyone who thinks history books hide tough truths. Power folks bury bad news, and real facts survive hunts. Templars were experts at science, putting deep meanings in buildings, arts, and ceremonies that only insiders understood, while outsiders saw nothing. Built over 200 years, mixed with old Byzantine, Arab, and maybe older ways. This sign language lets secrets pass down without papers enemies could grab or burn. Knowing Templar signs helps read clues they left even. Per this idea, hints in art. Places pointing to Antarctica knowledge. The cross is the most known Templar mark, but shapes had special meanings, many miss now. Their main cross arms wider at ends, some linked to old sun signs before Jesus. Red on white meant blood giving and clean life. Death for faith and pure ways. But different kinds might show knowledge levels or ties. The 8-point cross linked. 2 Templars and later Maltonites stood for 8 good ways and 8 night duties. Equal arm cross in a circle showed up in spots, some tied to shapes and stars. The octagon was key in Templar signs and builds. Many churches had 8 side floors like London's Temple Church or Jerusalem's Holy Sepulchre. Copy. Octagon bridges. Square earth for parts and circle God forever. It ties to 8-point star, seen in Islam and old Iraq lands. Some say octagons helped sailing to holding star info, for place finding or lining builds with sky events. If Templars used octagons for real, see help, or just spirit, their steady use means purpose. The 2 knights on 1 horse from early sealsment. Poor star, officially. But other ideas. Shows 2 sides, like opposites joining in old magic or hidden faiths. Maybe open warrior job and secret guard role. Some see it like old twin gods, Castor and Pollux sailor protectors, their stars marking sky middle. If meant, it links Templars to sea paths, backing hidden land ideas, looking at Templar spots, patterns hint at planned setup, bases sat exact, miles apart, making shapes on maps. Churches faced certain ways for stars. Windows caught light on special days. Maybe just old build habits, but some say they hold map info, a point grid for sailing or aiming at big places. If Templars knew Antarctica, they might hide hints in Europe builds for later knowers to solve. Signs in surprise spots spark Templar travel talks. Massachusetts, Westford, Native, old shows marks some call Templar. Nova Scotia rocks from Sinclair Triptales have crosses and signs. South America's stone picks compared to Templar art fought over. Each find gets cheers and doubts. Together, they show hunts for Templar paths through signs. The Antarctica sign idea, sailing facts hid in pretty designs. Cross size for place height, octagons for world points, links between far signs for south spot aim. This hid knowledge when papers burned, passed to insiders, not outsiders. Made a trail for later with right keys, under ancient stones, symbols. Bloom like hidden rose is whispering secrets of blood and faith. But what if those same marks guard a path to the world's frozen edge, where truths lie buried deeper than any grave? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. The rose shows up a lot near Templar pictures, sparking ideas about links to later secret groups like the Rosicrucians. In old ways, the rose meant keeping quiet, like the Latin saying sub rosa, or under the rose, for private talks. Mixed with the cross, it hinted at deep holy wisdom kept hidden, a path that shaped mystery teachings in the West for ages. Did Templars reuse the rose, or did later folks add it to their story? It's argued, but the tie strengthens the view of Templars as protectors of truths told through signs, not straight words. Understanding signs needs care about what we can't know. We today can't be sure what old marks meant to their makers. It's easy to see links where none are, or meanings in luck. But it's also possible smart workers hid real info in their craft. The signs stay cut in rock, drawn on old paper. They hint at secrets, but don't say them clear. And maybe, in icy spots at Earth's end, the last signs, Waither, one that unlocks everything. The cold land Templars might have known 700 years back is still today's most locked down place on Earth. No one country owns Antarctica. It's ruled by the Antarctic Treaty from 1959, started by 12 countries and now over 50. This deal stops land claims, bans army work, and limits who goes there to approve science by world groups. Science bases sit on coasts and inside, but huge areas stay untouched, hard to reach, or blocked even for real experts with good reasons. Today's tight rules and hidden Spots around Antarctica feel like the Templars' own ways of guarding knowledge in their strong days. The treaty came from the International Geophysical Year in 1957-1958 A big team up of experts from many lands to study the ice. The deal made Antarctica a spot for peace and learning. No nukes, no fights, no digging for goods. It's said to keep it clean for all people's good. But doubters and theory folks say the strict rules hide more blocking spots with fines that could shake old history or science tales. Why do countries that fight over everything else agree so fully on Antarctica? Some say it's to guard shared secrets from everyone else. Operation High Jump Reel, named United States Navy Antarctic Developments. Program gets lots of looks from mystery hunters. In 1946-1947, it sent almost 5,000 people, 13 ships, and 33 planes, the biggest polar trip ever. Admiral Richard Byrd led it, called a practice run and map job to set our spot there. It was way bigger than past trips, like a war push, not quiet study. It ended early, months short, blamed on bad weather and broken gear. Byrd's later words like, warnings of fast-flying foes from pole to Polsum Sea as hints at Russian threats. Early UFOs or hidden finds, too scary to tell. Today's Antarctica work keeps tight doors that spark more guesses. Bases from different countries do jobs like weather watch, star looks, life studies, rock checks, air tests, but some spots are extra. Protected, blocked, even declared experts. Said to save weak nature from people mess. The dry valley's old dry spots like Mars have rules to keep them pure. Lake Vostok, deep under 2 miles of ice, was drilled by Russians in 2012, finding old-timey life cut off for millions of years. But full info stays part secret, not shared with outside experts. Each blocked area, slow news, careful words from Bosch's gives fuel to those who think Antarctica hides big, world-shaking secrets from regular folks. The Templar Antarctica idea meets today's hidden ways through tales of ongoing watchers over time. If old knights reached the ice and left gold, or holy knowledge, they wouldn't leave it for luck finds. The family webs from earlier Scotland to Portugal to sea. Families would keep track of spots through passed-down guardians. When new explorers hit the south in 1800s and 1900s, these old line folks might rush to shield family hides. Some theories say these kin hold jobs in Antarctica rules, world science, or country bases. From there, they keep some finds quiet, areas unmapped, and old ice safes closed until right time. This needs believing secret groups lasted 700 years hard for doubters, but real lasting like Freemasons over ages, rich families keeping ways. For dozens of lives, church memory for 2,000 years shows it's possible for committed folks. Did Templar lines keep Antarctica info and sway today's rules? No hard proof, but the secret pattern around Antarctica gives hints some find strong. New tech starts showing things under Antarctic eyes that question simple views of an empty, normal land. Beneath miles of unyielding ice, shapes emerge on radar. Screens, circles and lines that whisper of lost worlds. Geologists call them natural scars from ancient crashes. But what if they're echoes of hands that are built in secret, waiting for the thaw to tell their tale? Before we step into this chilling journey, a small request. If your mind is ready to walk into the past, hit that like button and subscribe so you can always stay with me in these dark corners of history. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the deep silence of night, someone starting their morning, or somewhere in between. Satellite pictures, radar that sees through ice, and other far-off tools have spotted shapes under the huge ice cover. Experts say they're just normal rock changes, but some people think they could be man-made things from long-lost times. A round shape found in 2006 in Wilkes Land about 240 kilometers wide was called an old hit from a giant space rock by rock experts. But others say its perfect, even shape looks too planned, not like random nature. Other strange spots show up across the land too. Each one starts big arguments. Regular scientists give Earth-based reasons, while theory folks say hidden buildings wait under the freeze for us to find. Seeing Antarctica's puzzles today happens. In a world where many don't trust official stories or expert agreements. Whether science, old Earth tailies, even the planet's shape get hot. Fights with lots of people picking wild ideas that fit their views over what pros say. In this mixed-up time of doubt, the idea that Antarctica hides Templar secrets finds fans hungry for buried facts no matter the proof. True or not, we've gone through 700 years together, mixing real history with guest links from old France to Antarctica's cold edges. We've looked at maps that shouldn't be, groups that lived on hidden after N, and hide patterns that last to now. We face what's still unknown questions no history, pro, or wild thinker has answered fully after years of looks. These open puzzles are the core of our search, calling for wonder, not sure answers. From anyone ready to chase truth anywhere, the La Rochelle fleet's end is maybe the biggest puzzle here. Old papers say Templar ships left the port right before October. 1,307 grabs, but not where they ended. Scotland makes sense, with hints like graves and marks from that time. Portugal is proven with the Order of Christ taking over men and spots, but neither spot explains all the gone ships or how clean the dystopia was, leaving empty docks for Philip's men. If some went elsewhere, carrying special loads to secret places, history stays quiet. We know ships left La Rochelle. We don't know all their ends or loads. This whole lets ideas from likely to crazy, like some heading south on hidden old maps. The weird map stays unsolved too, even with lots of expert checks. The Piri Reis map is real in Tokapi, Palisades Antarctically coasts, checked by map pros. But how a 1513 paper shows them? No good answer from regular history. Piri Reis said he used old source maps, some from Alexander's days, but those are lost, even after hunts in old paper spots around the sea. Other maps like Orontius Phineas add to the puzzle, showing 1500s. Mapmakers from different lands had Earth knowledge, not from their own trips. Did it come from Templars, lost other paths, or total unknowns? The maps are real proof someone knew stuff history can't explain. The Templars, inside setup and real secrets, are a deep puzzle, maybe forever lost from burned papers. We know they hid join rights, top ranks, and true goals beyond guarding travelers. Under pain, some said bad things like bowing to idols or turning from Christ. But pain-pulled words aren't trustworthy. that Chinan parchment shows. Pope Clement quietly cleared top Templars, while ending the group, meaning he thought charges fake or unproven. If lies for king games, what true secrets did they hide? What did? Digs under Temple Mount find? What wisdom from Holy Land talks with other faith experts? Burned papers, killed answers, leaving bits, clues, and stories that won't make a clear picture. The family line keep question has its own hard spots. We've followed real ties from Templar kin to later sea finds. But showing steady paths of exact knowledge over 700 years is tough with broken old family papers. Families mix, spread, forget old ways. Papers burn, flood, get lost. Memories dim each. Life sacred to one becomes fun story to next. If a line kept Antarctica knowledge, how prove it? Those families, if real and guarding, would stay hidden, blocking easy checks. Antarctica holds its own puzzles, not tied to old nights. Huge ice hides lands air-free for millions of years. Lakes like Vostok have life worlds cut off since before humans. Rock shapes from far tools stay unseen, unexplained. Hard to reach such tough spots means big areas unknown to science. In this real mystery place, Templar hide ideas for easy in minds. If so much is truly hidden, why not this too? Not proof, but hard to wave off for those seeing how much waits to find. Today's Antarctica secrets add now layers to old puzzles, making more questions, not answers. Why treaty block so much? What finds hidden from us? Why high jump use army size for practice? Maybe simple, Cold War games, nature save, careful on half facts. But those don't fully calm watchers seeing blocks bigger than needed for study. We must own our chase limits too. Hunting history patterns risks making fake ones. Linking far events over ages needs big jumps, maybe wrong landings. The Templar Antarctica theory is a good story fits inside. Roots in real history, holes prose can't fill. But good tale isn't fact. Fits can work for lies to dot ice, keeps things. This basic truth means big for how secrets last when other memories die. In Siberia freeze, full mammoths come out beasts from ice times thousands years back. In Alps ice, Otzi showed in 1991 a 5,000-year man with clothes, tools, last food saved by cold. Ice treats. Awesome beasts or books, old hunters or night papers. What goes in stays, while world changes. So Antarctica isn't just far land, it's time safe, where past stays whole as warm spots would rot it. Hidden wisdom thinking runs old in all people groups. Every place has wise past to chosen truths too risky or holy for all. Shown only to ready tested. Grease old rites. Mouth stories. Of first peoples. Secret book reads by Jewish mystics, Muslim Sufis. Early faith hiders over ages all. Show belief some knowledge needs guard from unready. Not just old think or boss keeps some. Knowledge really hurts wrong hands. Some facts shake unready deep. Guard. Careful, past trusted over lives. Sees wisdom and ready must match. Templars, holding big knowledge like this theory would join this old guard way, knowing why needed. Their hide not fear, but plan not against world, but care for knowledge and unready folks. Secrets on far lands, lost peoples. True world shape and man's story would mean more than maps. The wind howls across Queen Maud land, cold enough to burn. Skin in seconds, scouring ice that hasn't melted for thousands of years. Beneath that ice, according to the thread we follow through 7 centuries of history and shadow, something still waits. Perhaps gold and silver carried from medieval vaults. Perhaps ancient charts and sacred writings spared from European fires. Perhaps relics whose power we can only imagine, shielded by eternal cold. Or perhaps only rock, snow, and the bones of long-dead creatures. We do not know. We may never know. But the question itself carries weight. The search holds meaning, even when answers stay hidden. Before we close this long night together, a small request. If this journey through forgotten history has stirred something in you, hit that like button and subscribe so you can stay with me as we explore more dark corners of the past. In the comments, let me know where are you watching from and what time is it there right now. Someone might be awake in the quiet hours, someone just starting their day, or somewhere in between. Knowledge of distant lands could have shaken the Church's view of the world, which taught one holy map as truth from God. It could have weakened kings who ruled by divine right within that same map. It could have started wars as nations raced to claim new places first. The Templars, bound by Christian duty and end times hope, might have decided such truths should stay froze and kept safe until people grew wise enough to handle them without ruin. Heritage is more than old papers in boxes. It is the living handoff of meaning from past to future, a family that keeps old ways alive, a group that passes secret teachings through ceremony, a community that shares stories and keeps memories fresh. All carry heritage not as dead weight, but as a living force that shapes who we are and what we might become. If Templar bloodlines have guarded Antarctic secrets for 700 years, they have done so as holy duty, not curiosity or odd habit, but a sacred charge held for a future not yet ready. Memory and ice share a deep link. Personal memories fade and die with the person. Written records burn or vanish, as Templar papers did in 1307 fires. But ice stops time. It halts rot. What enters stays as it was, untouched by passing centuries. Antarctica's great freeze has lasted millions of years, long enough to hold not only medieval traces, but hints of far older worlds from warmer times long gone. When and how such frozen knowledge might surface belongs to thought and guess, not firm history. Discovery would need changing climate, better tools, and people ready for hard truths to line up perfectly. Warming might uncover things hidden since old times as ice pools back. Machines now see and reach where humans couldn't before. And society's readiness for truths that might shake things without breaking them grows slowly, in ways no one fully controls. Maybe our time, with its strong tech and endless clash of truths, is a moment when secrets could break free. Maybe the ice will open when humanity can take what it holds without destroying itself. Silence carries its own power in traditions of hidden wisdom. The Templars knew this well. They stayed quiet about inner ways, even when words might have saved them from fire. That silence was not just smart, it was deep. Some truths can't fit in words. Speaking too soon twists them, harms more than helps the unready. Antarctica's vast white silence where voices vanish in wind and distant trees. The silence of those who know both invite guesses, stories, dreams from those who face them. Both protect through refusal to speak plain. Both perhaps wait for the right asker who grasps why silence guards and why it must. For everyone who stayed through this long tale across many parts, the ideas of memory and heritage give a way to live with open questions instead of forcing quick ends. We may never know for sure what Templars held, what they carried away, or what rests under southern ice. But we can choose how to meet that unknown with care, not demand. Approach mystery with respect. Don't rush to close it or throw it away. Honor kept knowledge by keeping questions alive. Pass the same wonder we receive to those who come after. Ice preserves what it receives. Bloodlines remember what was trusted to them. Between solid history and stubborn legend, truth waits patient for 700 years already. The wind still blows. Across Queen Maudland, beneath the ice, according to our shared journey, something endures. Treasure, maps, relics, or nothing but cold stone. The Templars who fled La Rochelle may have reached Scotland, Portugal and nowhere else. Or perhaps some ships turned south, guided by forbidden charts, to a vault no king could touch. We do not know. We may never know. But the asking matters. You who listened through this night have become a seeker in your own right. You followed threads of politics, strange maps, family ties, hidden groups, the fall of an order, and legends that refuse to fade. You aid evidence, history books dismiss, and ideas scholarship cannot prove. By listening, you asked if the past holds more than we're told. That question marks you as part of a line older than Templar's seekers who knew truth hides. Surfaces deceive, and blind trust misses depths. The call now: keep seeking, not wildly, but thoughtfully. Hold sharp judgment, but stay open to surprise. These mysteries won't end with one find or one voice. They unfold over lifetimes, each age adding its piece, passing the rest forward. If Templars watch from wherever the past rests, they might see in our questions an echo of their own. They sailed unknown seas. They trusted preservation mattered, even if seeing waited ages. They knew some truths need patience measured in centuries. The night is long. The questions run deep. The whispers go on across frozen lands no ear hears. In stones carved with crosses, in quiet moments when old truths speak, ice holds what it holds, patient, uncaring of our stories. True to its freezing nature, tonight, wherever darkness finds you, you join seekers stretching back centuries and reaching forward to times we won't see. The questions outlive us. The mysteries invite forever. This is not Losit's legacy. We pass on what came to us, richer for our touch, carried by our care. Thank you for walking this path through shadow and ice with me. If it moved you, subscribe to keep exploring together. Share these whispers with others who crave mystery. Until next time, may your seeking bring light, and may the ice, in its time, yield its secrets to those worthy of them. Like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe.